opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a wonderful episode of Running Point. We're on a Wednesday, and you know what Wednesdays are. Scotty Minter in the seat with me on to my right. Brought to you by our good friends, the logos above our heads, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Scotty, how we doing today?
I'm good. My team's in first place, so I'm good.
Careful, Scotty.
wanted to
It's
get
June.
one shot.
It's June. All right. You need to chill a little bit.
Okay.
All right. You got 3 months of baseball left.
It is very
4
true.
months, right? Yeah. I'm gonna count June because we're not out, but June, July, August, September. You
I'll
got all
admit
that to get through still.
That was low-hanging fruit. I took the low-hanging fruit there.
You leave it to Cleveland to brag about being in first place less than halfway through the season. So, it's all good.
Cleveland fans got to take all they can get.
No, they don't. They should just wait until they're good to cheer. Anyway, now that we're done bantering, Scotty, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm ready to roll today. Feeling very good. Had
You're always
a
ready
good
to roll.
breakfast, so I'm good.
Hey, I saw the big fat head of Nick Chubb on Facebook. I gotta tell you,
it was
it's kind of creepy. I don't know if I have a big face on my wall. What in the world is looking at me? I can see those eyes at night, like, ooh.
I have quite a few of them now. I have LeBron, Kyrie. I have Chubb. I got Myles Garrett. So I have quite a few of them.
Man, go for it, man.
And I have it back in my parents' house. I have Iman Shumpert, who used to play for the Cavaliers, and
I like that. You know why I like that? You know why I like that one, Scotty? Where did Iman Shumpert go to college?
Then he's a Yellow Jacket.
He's a Yellow Jacket. Let's go.
Georgia Tech, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love Shump. I actually have a Shump Christmas Day jersey, but I don't want to get too off the I'll let you proceed.
Dude, this whole show's off the rails. Me and you are just going to be BS all day. But we do have, I correct myself, because we do have to recap Class B action like we do every day. We are very excited about our continued coverage of Class B baseball at Scene Park. Scotty, last night was 16U night in the ballpark for Class B. And a very important games. We looked at the standings yesterday, and we'll look at them again today after we go through all the – ooh, I'm on Sunday. That's not good. It wouldn't be on Tuesday the 11th. But we looked through all the standings yesterday on the show before, to preview these games. And we'll look at them again when we're done recapping these. But the standings, Scotty, as you'll see, a lot of cluster especially in 3 through 7. A lot of just mushed up records with, only a game or two separating them. So these games in the middle of the season becoming really important as teams try to separate themselves from the top to the bottom. So we'll start with the first game of the night, 3B Barons and Eagleware. It was the Barons with a big 9-1 win over the Eagleware, and let's look at the final score, box score of this one. The Barons were able to break out offensively after scoreless through 3. They scored 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and 5 in the 6th to break out and winning 9-1. Eagleware answered their first 2 runs with 1 in the bottom of the 4th, so a 2-1 game after 4 turns into a 9-1 game final. 9 runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the Barons. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for Eagleware. We'll look at the Barons offense real quick. RBIs from a couple of different sources, but the big day came from David Friedman, who was perfect at the plate, 2 for 2 with a walk, a run scored, 3 RBI. 2 RBI day from DJ Graham, who was also perfect, never retired, 1 for 1 with a run scored and 2 RBI. And then a pair of RBI as well from Bowden Hilliard, who went 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. You had an RBI from another perfect day at the plate from Dom Malone. He went 1 for 1 with a run scored. And that rounds up the RBIs for the day for the Barons. Pitching and getting the win was Justice Laird. And that is a great name, Scotty. You know, when you say, I am Justice.
Yeah, well, you can't get a much better name than that.
In 4 innings pitched, and you can't get much better pitching. No earned runs, just gave up 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. A big day for him on the mound, and a big day for the Barons, getting that 9-1 win. Once again, Scotty, like I said, a offensive eruption late after a very slow start to this game where pitching was doing well. And the fact you see the start for Eagleware, the unfortunate loss given to Chase Hitchcock's, who went 4 innings, only gave up 2 earned runs, 4 hits, struck out 3, but he had to use 96 pitches to get through 4. So, you know, the Barons were really working his count, and then they got into the Eagleware bullpen, and they took advantage of it. Scotty, we watch baseball a lot. We're both baseball fans in the MLB and college, even high school, and here in Class B. It doesn't matter if you can work your way past the starter and get to the bullpen, especially if you get to it early, you can really up your odds of winning.
For sure. You work that count. That's why, at times it's good to be aggressive because sometimes that first pitch you see is going to be the best one and your best chance to get a hit. But a lot of times you want to take more pitches, work that count so you can get into that pen and really up your chances.
Yeah, it all comes down to this pitch selection in my mind. If you're going to swing at a first pitch, it better be the one you're looking for in your game plan at the plate. You can't be guessing on the first pitch. And then, like you said, working the count the rest of the way and just trying to be a smart hitter with a game plan. That's what makes good hitters good. We go to the next game, and it is Nightline and Avalanche, a high-scoring game. Avalanche living up to their name, rolling to a 12-7 win. And here's the box score breakdown of this one. 5 runs in the first for Nightline. Avalanche found themselves down 5-0 after 1. Scored 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. So all of a sudden tied up at 5. Nightline takes the lead 6-5, top of the fifth. And then the Avalanche answer with a big 7 spot in the bottom half of the inning. 1 run in the top of the 6th for Nightline, but not enough. 12 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors for Avalanche. 7 runs, 7 hits, and a hard to handle 4 errors on the day for Nightline. Scotty, hard to come back from 4 errors when you're giving up also 11 hits.
Yeah,
a lot of base runners.
It's tough enough going out there because baseball, being that there's so many variables and you only, if you're the best of the best, you succeed 30% of the time. So it's tough enough going out there playing totally clean and getting a win, let alone when you make 4 errors. Most nights that's gonna make it virtually impossible.
I know the old cliche when talking about baseball and softball is it's a game of failure, but I like to instead say it's a game of opportunity because you're going to get a lot of opportunities. You're not going to succeed every time. You're not going to get a positive result every time. But what I love about baseball and softball is you're going to get an opportunity in a couple of innings. You're going to get another at bat. You're going to get another day. It's the next day. So failure for me, failure is kind of negative to say it's a game of failure. I like to say game of opportunities when I'm coaching, because I want to get my players in a positive mindset and I want to get them to, have good self-talk. So I don't want to say words like failure. So I like to say game of opportunities because why we do want them to understand that like you're not going to succeed 100% of the time and you have to be okay with that. You also want them to know like you're going to have a lot of opportunities to come back from when you don't succeed. And for Nightline and Avalanche. I mean, Avalanche didn't have a particularly clean game either. They had 3 errors on the day, but they just kept making the most out of their opportunities, and they scored the big 7 runs in the 5th. The way that game was going until that, it was a close game back and forth. It was anyone's game. It was tied up at 5. So, and then Nightline took a lead 6-5. So you're down by 1 run going into it, but you're having more opportunities, another opportunity, and they take the advantage of it, getting that 7 run bottom of the 5th. Here's the hitters for Avalanche, the ones that did a lot of the damage. And look at the 2 RBI right off the jump from Will Beckert. He went 2 for 3, 2 runs scored. You also had 2 RBIs on the day from Henry Biggs DeSantis, showing up real bigs. Sorry, I couldn't resist that pun. 1 for 4 with 2 RBI on his day. And then RBI spread out throughout the rest of the offense. You had an RBI on a walk from Gabe Titus, had an RBI from Don Miller, who also scored 2 runs and walked, had an RBI from Jaden Amos, famous Amos. He had a run scored and 2 walks, had an RBI on a 3 for 3 day for Hunter Jones. He was never retired. He also scored a run. RBI from Lane Ryder on a 1 for 2 day and a walk, and a 1 for 2 day for Chase Mitchelltree, who also had a run scored. And then last but not least, you see at the bottom there, an RBI on a 1 for 1 day for Jared Bissell. You see a lot of at bats for this Avalanche team. They had a total of 27 at bats given to, it looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They sent 16 hitters to the plate. And you can see the offense pretty spread out. A lot of people getting hits, a lot of people getting RBIs, a lot of people doing their job. Getting a win on the mound was Lane Ryder. He went 1 2/3, gave up 1 earned run, 4 hits. Didn't strike out anybody, but didn't walk anybody either. And then you can see that the Avalanche had to use 4 different pitchers. The one that pitched the most was Jalen Peace. He went 3 innings, didn't give up any runs on 1 hit, struck out a pair, did walk 5, however. Got to look at Nightline's hitting too, because they did score 7 runs and they were having success. 3 RBI day on a 1 for 4 day, talking about making the most out of your hits. Blake Leslie goes 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs. 0 for 2 day for Easton Armstrong, but he gets 2 RBIs as well. So he's doing his job. You have a 1 for 3 day for Drew Chismar, who has a walk and a run scored. You have a 1 for 3 day for Mike Skevnicki, who went with a run and a walk as well. And those are the 7 RBIs from the Nightline hitters. Any thoughts on this one before we move on, Scotty?
Well, you said you love puns, but the Avalanche lived up to the name, right? With they really poured on. It was a true avalanche.
It was, especially in the 5th. They kept coming with that 7-run frame. We'll go to the next one, Ballistic Baseball Prospects. Closest game of the night, 5-4. Prospects get the win. And let's see how they did it with a scoreless game through 2. Ballistic takes a 2-1 lead as both teams score in the 3rd. Then another shutdown frame in the 4th. But a 2-1 5th as Ballistic then took the 4-2 lead. But in the bottom of the 7th, with their backs against the wall, Scotty, you got to love it when this happens in baseball. 3 runs scored in the 7th. Prospects walk off on a comeback and get the win 5-4.
Yeah, that's it's such a gratifying feeling when you're struggling most of the game, or it's tight, and everything means something, everything is significant, and then when you're able to finally break through late and walk it off like they did, man, it's baseball. Um, such a it's definitely a humble game. It'll humble you real quick, I think, but it's also just so rewarding and exhilarating at times.
3-run 7th. That sounds familiar, Scotty. That was what West Branch had to do to win a state championship. It was the top of the 7th that time, so they didn't get the opportunity to walk it off. They still had to shut the door in the bottom half. But 3-run 7th will live on in Ysn's history because we had a state championship with a 3-run 7th as the Warriors were down 2-0, actually getting one hit going into the 7th inning, and they still managed to find a way to break through, score 3 runs with 3 outs left, and win that game 3-2. Once again, congratulations to West Branch, of course. You'll get a shout out every day, right? I'll find a way to work that in every day on Running Point with how awesome that was. We get the hitting from prospects. RBIs kind of spread out. No one had a huge day, but everyone doing their job. 1 RBI from Brandon Toot, who went 1 for 3 with a run scored. 1 RBI from Aiden Anders, who went 3 for 4. You had 2 for 3 day from Vincent Weeks. He had an RBI as well. 3 RBI out of the 4 runs scored for prospects, but also a big day for Cameron Herrick, who didn't have an RBI but did go 3 for 3 with a walk. So he was never retired. That's always a good day at the plate when you can go 1,000 on base percentage. Pitching the prospects to the win was Brixton Gilmore. I like that name. We were talking about names, Scotty. I like Brixton. That is a strong name and unique. We're going to make an all name team one of these times because these Class B teams have a lot of good ones. We're going to have some fun one day. You and me, we're going to go through the rosters and make an all name team. Brixton Gilmore, 2 innings pitched, no runs given up, 3 hits, struck out 3, didn't walk anybody. The prospects as a staff stayed away from the walks for the most part, only 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. I think most coaches would take that strikeout to walk ratio any day of the week, 7-2. We look at Ballistic hitting, who had the 4 runs and almost got the win. Couldn't blame the bats, that's for sure. 2 RBI day from Logan Miller. He went 1 for 3 with a walk as well. You had 1 RBI from Todd Jones, who went 3 for 4. And a 3 for 4 day as well from Kyle Gibson. And then a 2 for 4 day for Logan Elich. So some good bats in that lineup that really did well. And they brought a lead in the 7th. But prospects never say die. They get the walk-off win 5-4.
Prospects, yeah, never say die, clutch. And they say, there's the old saying in baseball, momentum is only as good as the next day starting pitcher. But I don't always, necessarily find that the case. I think sometimes you get wins like this, especially as the season continues to go on and you find out more about yourself. I think it could propel you to better things. I think one game can, as much as baseball is, you've got to wipe the slate clean. I think sometimes one game could really be like a launching pad.
And then you can also say momentum's only as good as the other teams next door, because we've seen plenty of baseball teams at every level score like 10 or 10 plus runs in one day, and then the next day come back and the next starter in the rotation holds them down to 2 or 1. You're like, what the heck? We just hit the snot out of the ball last night. What's going on now? Well, this pitcher's just carving us up.
For sure, that does happen quite a bit. Because I've watched plenty of games in my day, whether it's high school at Lowville or a college game or the major leagues. And my team I'm rooting for scores a ton of runs, and then the next night the bats are silent, and I'm like, I wish we could have like saved some of those
Save some runs. I love when
carrying
baseball
them.
fans say that.
Yeah,
As if you can carry over runs. Like, couldn't we have just saved some of those for today? That's always fun. I'm
yeah,
hoping the Yankees did not save any runs for today because they scored a lot yesterday against my team. So hopefully they left all the runs in yesterday. We go into the next game. The rivalry between the Astro Falcons and Creekside has been strong for years in Class B. It always seems like these two are fighting it out in the standings every year. These two get into the tournament's championship, more times than not. And it's another chapter, another good one, a 4-2 win for the Astro Falcons. You see tied after 2 as the Falcons scored 1 in the first. Creekside scored 1 in the second. A very eventful third inning where Creekside scored 1 to take the lead, but the Astro Falcons answered with 2 in the bottom. Falcons answer with 1 more in the fourth and then go on to win 4-2. The way this game ended, though, according to Matt Marr, he reported this. A fly out to the outfield and then a dead throw to home, a 9-2 double play, which is something you don't see a ton in 16U baseball because there's not a lot of 16U kids that have the arm to throw from center to home on the line and make it a good throw right at the plate. But Creekside, I mean, the Astro Falcons do. No shocker. The Astro Falcons have talent. And they get the 9-2 double play to end the game as Creekside tries to score from a tag up on a fly ball to center field. And the Falcons get the win and the exciting way to end it. Here's the Falcons offense. Wasn't a lot of runs scored, but they did get some contributions. Ty McCaskey got a 1-for-2 day with an RBI. You had Jaden Royal, also 1-for-3 with a run scored. He had an RBI. And then an RBI from Rowan Urbach, who was the catcher that made the tag on that final play at the plate to end the game. He was 1-for-3 on the day. The pitching was really good for the Falcons as well. Ben Otis got the start in the win. 5 innings pitched for him. Gave up 2 runs on 5 hits. Struck out 3. And then Bryson Zerwas came in relief. Went 2 innings. Gave up no runs on 1 hit. Struck out a pair. Excuse me. For Creekside, they didn't pitch bad either. We're going to go right to their pitching since I'm already down here. Ben McDonald had a good day, 6 innings pitched, gave up the 3 earned runs, 4 hits, but he struck out 8. And this Astro Falcons team, hard to strike out. Creekside, as a team, struck out 10 of them. That's not something we see too often from this Astro Falcons lineup.
Yeah, I mean, when in Creekside, right in this game, you strike out 10 Astro Falcons. I mean, you're gonna be right there. Unfortunately for Creekside, from their perspective, came up a little short, but you take that any day. I bet going into the game, you ask any of their best players or the coaches, we're gonna strike out 10. They take that every time, especially again. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, especially against a team as potent as the Astro Falcons.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you tell that coaching staff and that pitching staff, hey, you're going to strike out 10 of these guys, they're going to say, okay, we have a chance to win. And they did. They were close. They were in this game. It was a baseball game that really could have gone either way. And I think Creekside will take from this and, say, okay, it's a mid-season loss. They're about right at the halfway point for 16U. I think we have up until the first couple of days of July for the regular season of Class B to be over, so 3 more weeks. So they're right at the midway point. They said, okay, a mid-season loss to the Astro Falcons where we competed. We were right there. We could have gone either way. That's baseball. It didn't bounce our way this time, but they'll be able to take this and take a lot from it if they when they see the Falcons again, and if they see them in the playoffs as well, they'll be able to say, "Hey, we know what to do. Our game plan worked. We know how to attack these hitters. Let's go do it again. Give ourselves a chance to win."
For sure. And that's all you want at the end of the day. I mean, it sounds kind of corny, and obviously everybody wants the ultimate thing. You want to win, but I think any game you just want that chance. You want that opportunity. You don't want to feel like you're overwhelmed or going up against an opponent that makes you just feel like it's like we're never gonna do this. If you could hang in there, keep it close, and keep grinding away, anything could happen, especially in baseball where there's just, so many variables.
Yeah, definitely for sure. In the Creekside offense, Blake Burchell went 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk, and they also had an RBI on a 2 for 3 day from Freddie Zettner, who did go that 2 for 3 with the RBI. So, some success from the lineup, not enough for Creekside to get the win. 4-2 Astro Falcons get the dub on Tuesday for 16U. We got one more game to go over, Scotty. Fifth of the night. It was the nightcap on scene 3, I believe. And it is the Athletics taking down A-Z Athletics. 7-2. The Battle of the Athletics, the one with the X, came out on top. The X Factor, I guess you could say, right? Oh,
X Factor.
that's a
Oh,
pun.
another
That's a good one.
pun.
I wish I would have used that in the story. Dang.
You,
One run.
I was just gonna say real quick, and it's something like I don't think about much, but like you've kind of ignited that fire again in me. It's like puns are so much fun.
Yeah, it's pun. It's really pun to make some puns.
Yeah.
If you don't go over the top with it, but we try not to. We try not to get too overly excited with the puns. We try to make it good old fashioned fun. Athletics get one run in the first to take the 1-0 lead. It stays that way for the first 3 innings, 1-0, and then tie game in the bottom of the fourth as the A-Z Athletics score a run in the bottom frame. But like a lot of teams last night, Scotty, Athletics answer with the next half inning. They score 1, A-Z answers with 1 more, so it's 2-2. But then the Athletics, with the late burst, do way more than enough to get the win. 4 runs in the 6th, 1 run in the 7th, 7 runs total on 8 hits, 2 errors. You had 2 runs on 1 hit, 3 errors for A-Z Athletics. They just could not get the hits to go. They had a 2-2 game, couldn't get that timely hit, couldn't get enough to put some real big pressure on Athletics, and eventually the Athletics hitters just broke through. Here is the offense for them on the big day. Tyler Kerlick went 2 for 3 with 2 RBI. You also got a pair of stakes from Brady Stovall, who went 1 for 2 on the day with a walk and a run scored. RBI towards the bottom from Brady Hott, who did not get a hit but did get the RBI, so props for doing your job down there. I bet, maybe a sacrifice or hitting runners over, something like that to get an RBI. Always good to do your job. J.D. Henderson went 1 for 1, a perfect day at the plate with 2 walks, an RBI, and a run scored for the Athletics. But we also have to talk about their pitching. It was a 1-hitter on the day for the pitching staff, and the win goes to Colin Resitar. We know him pretty well. 5 innings pitched, just a 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 runs total, 12 strikeouts, a big number there for him. And then they brought in TJ McGanahan to close out the game with 2 scoreless innings. He also struck out 3, walked just 1. So 15 strikeouts total on the day for Athletics. That's a good way to shut down a team, not even letting them put the ball in play.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best way to do it, because, even if you're able to hit ground balls or fly balls, especially when you're playing a game and it's not all professionals out there, you put it in play, there's a decent chance you're gonna get on base, or there could be errors or whatever. But when you have a pitching staff that just dominant and striking everyone out, and well over 10 batters out, then it takes the game out of the offense's hands.
So once again, final score 7-2. Athletics gets the win over A to Z. With that being said, let's look at the standings real quick after the finals come through from last night. Avalanche got the win, so they're still in front with an 11-2 record. Still that game and a half lead over the Astro Falcons, who are now 9-3 on the year. Athletics with a big win to stay in third place, chasing the Falcons. They're 8-4. The Barons also won. They're 8-5. You have the Prospects with a 8-5 record. Creekside 6-6. Nightline 6-7. Ballistic 4-9. You have the A to Z Athletics 2-9. Eagleware still looking for their first win of the year. 0-12, rounding out the standings. So that's how they look after the games last night. 16U will be back in action on Thursday. Tonight's 18U. Let's quickly preview the games that you'll have at Scene Park tonight. So here's the lineup for tonight's games at 5:30 on Scene 1. You have Ballistic against Eagleware. On Scene 2 at 5:30, this is 18U, by the way, Dura Edge and 3B Barons doing some battle. Also at 5:30 on Scene 3, you have Prospects and Creekside. Nightline Astro Falcons have the day on 8 o'clock at Scene 1, and then they'll round out the night on Scene 3, Avalanche and Athletics doing battle at 8 o'clock as well. So those are the games on tap tonight at Bob Scene Park. 18U is the day for the 12th. 16U back in action tomorrow. Friday 18U, and then we get real busy on the weekend. As always, Saturday and Sunday will be featuring both age divisions. So a busy Saturday and Sunday at Bob Scene Park, as always. You got to love baseball. Every day we got some action, and you can find it all on ysnlive.com. Me and Scotty are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do the most dangerous thing in the online streaming. We're going to see what's on Scotty's mind today. Don't go anywhere. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now. 21
News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by that logo atop our heads, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. I bet they love Wednesdays because that's when their logo gets the biggest. All show Wednesdays right there with the 2 box with me and Scotty. Scotty, as
You
we do
gotta
every
love-
Wednesday. What?
I was just gonna say you gotta love Wednesdays
I
because
know.
it's hump day.
Hump day.
Hump day. What was
Hey,
that?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Mike.
Classic. We're gonna do what we do every week on Wednesday. We're gonna do the most dangerous thing in online streaming. We're gonna see what's on Scotty's mind. Scotty, you ready? Let's get dangerous. What's on your mind today, buddy?
Getting dangerous. Here we go. Well, today, I haven't gotten to discuss this since the season started. Obviously, we had the wonderful coverage of the spring sports and track and everything for 2 months or maybe slightly over 2 months. I wanted to, though, with the Scrapper season underway, and I think with the win last night, they are now over 500 on the season, on the campaign. And I just wanted to know for you, Anthony, because I don't think I ever really talked to you about it, but do you have, like, in your time, do you have like a favorite memory of the scrappers, or a couple of maybe your favorite memories? And then the second part of that, what are your early takeaways so far from the scrappers early in the season, and what's your opinion of McCracken as the manager?
All right. So first question, I don't think my answer is not going to be as fun as others because I know people have these fond memories of going to watch, Indians players in the past that were hurt that would come down and be in the Mahoning Valley Scrappers for their rehab assignment. And they get to see him, and oh wow, how cool was it to see, CC Sabathia or the players that they ended up really idolizing in Cleveland as an Indian for the Indians / Guardians now, but Indians back then when they were affiliated with the Scrappers. Oh, how cool it was to go see these players that we get to watch and idolize on TV or watch once in a season or twice in a season at Progressive. But now we get to see them really close up in Niles. It's a much more personal atmosphere in East Woodfield, and I think that brought a lot of really good memories to a lot of Cleveland fans. But as people know, I'm not a Cleveland fan. Like I'm not an Indians fan. I'm not a Guardians fan. I'm a Royals fan. So it was never like I never had that connection with the team where I was going to watch these players that I thought would be, in the majors going up. But what I will say is one of the things that the Scrappers have always been really good at, from even when they were back as a team that was affiliated with the Indians, and now as a team that's just in the MLB Draft League, this hasn't changed. They take care of people in the community with disabilities. They have a disabilities night. They also give out free tickets to the MCD, it used to be MRDD. Now it's MC. Oh, geez. Mahoning County MCBDD. I think I think it's Mahoning County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I hope I'm not missing a letter there because my mom works for the organization, so I better not be missing a letter. Or I am going to be really upset. I think it's the MCBDD. But anyway, the board for Mahoning County that really takes care of all the schools that are Mahoning County. So Leonard Kurtz and your workshops for the students that graduate from Leonard Kurtz, everyone that kind of deals with all that stuff. Mahoning Valley Scrappers do a really good job of taking care of them, giving them some tickets, giving their parents a night where they can take their kids out and not have to worry about, trying to feed them at home, and just a night out with them, which I know means a lot to a lot of families. It definitely meant a lot to our family when we had my older brother that was much more worse off than I was, being able to take him to Scrappers games. And my mom takes clients that she still watches every Fridays, every now and then, to Scrappers games as well, and those tickets are always compensated, which is always cool from the Scrappers to do that. Like I said, I really admire that. The first time we had the Scrappers GM way back when we signed the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, that was one of the first things that I said to them, how appreciative that I was about what they do for the disabled community in Mahoning County and across the Tri-County area. So that still reigns true. And I think that's one of my things that I have to say about the Scrappers. I might not have, the fond memories of watching the players of the past that were either going to go be Indians or were on rehab assignments that were already on the Indians team. I know a lot of fans have those kind of memories here in Mahoning Valley, but mine are just kind of those fond memories of that and respect for how they carry themselves in that way. Now, when we go to what the Scrappers look like this year, I think especially at home in Eastwood Field, they're looking really good. They've lost one game at home so far, and that was one that they already won the series in. So always hard to sweep a team. But when you win the first two games and you're able to go into that last one with the opportunity to sweep, that's always good. They're looking like they have some pop in the bat. They have doubles to the gap. Overall, in their wins, they're pitching pretty well. I think they're a well-rounded team. What's always interesting in this league, though, Scotty, is what they do in the middle of it, because the goal is to get players drafted. So you're going to, if that happens, you're going to have players that you have to replace halfway through the season that go off and get drafted by teams that are now saying, okay, we want you in our organization, not playing for the Scrappers. So unlike before, when like the Indians would draft a player, they'd go to the Scrappers and they'd be there. Now you don't have draftees playing for this MLB draft league for the most part, because once teams have control of a guy, they don't want to send them somewhere that they're not affiliated with. They want to make sure that they're sending them to their guys, their people that they put into place to do what they want to do with these players. So it's really interesting to see how the league has, the first year they I think they learned from it, and they've reestablished this whole like 2 half season kind of things to make it a little bit more manageable for the people that are running it, the like manager McCracken and the GM and things like that. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Scrappers navigate that this year. But right now, with the players they have on the roster now, looking pretty dang good. And what I like is every day, every win so far, it's been a new kind of hero, a new person stepping up and making those big plays, a well-rounded baseball team.
Yeah, I saw the interview on our site with John Snyder. He's had some really big. He's been instrumental in several of their wins this year, and you've had other guys step up as well, like you said. And it's seems to be a different guy or multiple guys every night stepping up for Mahoning Valley. So it's exciting. It is good to see. You brought up something interesting about just how the way they do it now, and it's different, and how if a team isn't affiliated with a major league club, like they don't want to really send them down there. They don't want them playing there. Like they want that guy playing for that organization. Did you ever feel, Anthony, because there was rumblings quite a ways back before we got the Scrappers? I did hear some rumblings about like the possibility of the Scrappers being done with. Is that something you were ever really nervous about, or do you think it was like stuff that was overblown?
There was definitely, I think, a big chance of it when they kind of had that purging of a lot of major league teams, when the Major League Baseball kind of made this transition where now there's not nearly as many minor league teams anymore. A lot of them have been cut, and I think only the teams in the draft league are the ones that survive that big purge. So there was definitely worries. I think everyone in any minor league market was kind of sitting on pins and needles. And I remember, Running Point. We there was like 2 months where we didn't know if the Scrappers were going to be a thing or not. We were hoping, and we didn't want to lose the Scrappers because we were one of the most profitable minor league teams at this level in the whole country. I mean, the people in Mahoning Valley really loved their baseball and were going and were buying the seats, and it was profitable. So we thought we had a good chance, but you just never know. Rob Manfred doesn't always make the most logical, sane decisions. We all know that as baseball fans. So we were kind of on pins and needles, waiting for what he can do. But now with this league, I think the Scrappers' future is pretty much good to go. I don't think there's any more worries of that, but there definitely were back when this whole transition was happening, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I remember thinking. It was pretty serious because I remember that time and I think that was a little before I started joining you on Running Point. But yeah, I'm just happy it is where it is now, and everything kind of worked out. You know, it kind of fell into place, and now they seem to be in a good spot. It looks like they could have, there could be stability, and everybody's on the same page. You mentioned they just seem for years, because I told you how I worked with the Scrappers, and it was well before I joined the team at YSN, and just so many great people in that organization. And I know you talked about their work with people with disabilities, and they worked with the Rich Center, I think it is, for autism. They worked with them for years, and now they got the sensory suite for people with
Yes.
autism. So it's really is great stuff, and I was happy that with the home opener, I think it was last weekend when they were home, that they were able to kind of showcase that, and it gives people that typically, wouldn't go out to the ballpark. It's another way to get fans into the game of baseball and into the game. So I was really happy to see that as well.
Yeah, you go to these ballparks. I just went to Progressive Field last week, and you go to some of these big places. It could be a ballpark, it could be a big museum, whatever it may be. Not everywhere really thinks about the ADA stuff, and maybe they do stuff that are technically okay. We crossed the checklist, we're ADA compliant, but there's not a lot of places that really take the time to put it in their perspective and think, okay, what would a guy in a wheelchair have to do to get into this spot or this bathroom or this door, whatever it may be. But the Scrappers, like if you go there, they go above and beyond. They have a sensory suite. They make sure they're taking care of the people in that community that have those needs. So that's always appreciated. And like I said, that's not the case with all the sports parks or big I don't want to big crowd attractions throughout the country that aren't always the ones that have that thought in mind. So Scrappers definitely do. We appreciate that. I know Scott. I know I'm speaking for you too, Scotty. We appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like you said a moment ago, it's not like most places aren't going to totally neglect, but it's kind of,
No, they'll check the box.
yeah, it's like they just kind of do the bare minimum. So it's just so great to see the Scrappers, go above and beyond.
The great example I always make, Scotty, is you go into a handicap stall and it's bigger than the rest technically, and there are grab bars in there. So to a lot of people that are deciding how to align their construct or whatever, That's a check mark. Okay, we have a bigger stall. It's bigger. It's got the grab bars. We're all good. But then you go, okay, if you're really thinking about it, and what I wish they would do is just have one person take a wheelchair in there and say, one, can you get into the stall with a wheelchair and still be able to navigate in there? Two, is the door so big that you can't close the door once you get in there with a wheelchair? Because that's happened to me quite a bit. And three, is the grab bar so far away from the toilet it doesn't even matter anymore? You know, it's things like that, and it's not just the bathroom; it's just the easiest picture I can paint. But like things like that you check the box, but you don't really put that extra thought into thinking like, is this really good? And like I said, doorways are pretty much like that too. They're just things that people don't think about if you don't have a disability, but then if they don't even put the extra effort into thinking about them, and the scrappers always do. So that's what I appreciate the most.
And it's good that they're a little up and down to start the year. Now they're over 500, and like you said, so far at home it's been great. So hopefully they continue and keep that home cooking going now in Mahoning Valley. Still to this day, that venue, we talked about Scene Park and the beauty of Scene, but their venue too, a beautiful ballpark.
It really is. I mean, not just the Scrappers, but the home of the YSU Penguins. So we get to spend a lot of time at Eastwood Field at YSN, and it's one of the best ones in the area for sure. Scotty, I told you before we got on the air that I had a funny story about the Guardians Royals game that I went to on Thursday. I want to share it with you because I think you'll get a kick out of it. So if you guys know the way the game went, it was close the whole time. The Royals won 4-3 with a run in the top of the 8th, and then they won with the last out in the bottom of the 9th. It's in Cleveland, Cleveland's home team. So here I am sitting. It's hard for me to be at a game and really be able to know exactly like everything that's going on because my vision's not great. Can't see the scoreboard all the time. So I try to keep an eye on the count. I try to kind of gauge the crowd's reaction because, if the Guardian fans get all excited, okay, that was probably a strike. If there's not a lot of noise, probably a ball, and then vice versa for when the Royals are hitting, et cetera, et cetera. So if a ball gets hit, I can't really see where it goes, but I just use the crowd, gauge it. But you got to really be locked in all the time, right? Because you got to be able to really be paying attention to see what's going on, especially when you're a visiting fan and you have vision impairment, as I like to say it. So we're in the 8th. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I spaced out for a minute or if I just missed it, but the Royals score, and I had no clue what happened. I'm going into the bottom of the 8th and the top of the 9th and the bottom of the 9th with complete certainty that this game's tied at 3. So I'm thinking we're tied, bottom of the 9th. Okay, Jose Ramirez comes up, and I'm like, oh, because in my mind, if he hits a home run, that's it. It's a walk-off, we lose. So I'm like, 2 outs, Jose's up. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He grounds out, and then everyone starts to stand up and leave. And I'm like, we got extra innings. What are we doing? And then my buddy who took me to the game goes, no, the game's over. You guys won. I was like, what? So I was like, I couldn't even celebrate the win because I didn't even know that we won. So
man.
I felt like such an idiot. I was like, oh my God, we won. Yeah, woo.
I did see man, that's rough. You go to the game against the division, right? Your team gets a win, you can't even celebrate.
I mean, you celebrate it, but it's just not the same. Like you would have, like you can't recreate the exhilaration of that final out when you won, right? So you're like, yeah, we won. You get all excited. You find Royals fans, you fist bump them. There are actually quite a few of them because we sat in the section right behind the Royals dugout. So we were that's where all the Royals fans kind of hang out anyway. So you find the Royals fans, you fist bump them, you get excited, but you cannot recreate the exhilaration of that, like right in the moment that you win celebration. So I missed out on that because I thought it was 3-3. I completely missed the run. I don't know how. I'm still trying to figure out like when it happened. I was watching the eighth. I knew what was going on. The final out, I was like, dang, okay, we're still tied. Completely missed the run. I mean, I must have like space for an at bat. I don't know. It was a base hit with a runner on second that scored a run. So it wasn't even like a fluke run or a sacrifice play. It was like a legitimate base hit that scored a run, and I completely missed it. And I was like, Scotty, I mean, I was confident it was 3-3. I was so confused when I saw everyone stand up after the final out. Because I was like, we're going to extras. Why is everyone leaving?
Is that the first time that ever happened to you? Like,
yeah, because like I don't go to a lot of baseball games. I usually probably go maybe one a year. Usually in Kansas City, but I've been to Cleveland a couple of times, and I've been to Pittsburgh when the Royals come to town. So I don't go to a lot of baseball games, but I usually get to one a season, and I've never completely lost track of the game in that kind of way. Where I just don't even I completely miss the score and I have no idea what the score is. And that was the first time that ever happened to me. And I'm not going to say I see everything or, I know exactly what happens on every play, but that was the first time that I completely lost track of a complete score and I had no idea what it was. And I was like totally confident that it was 3-3 when it was actually 4-3. It was it was embarrassing for me to the two people I was with. No one else really knew but the two people I was like, why is everyone leaving? Dude, you won 4-3. And they were Guardians fans, and they weren't happy. Dude, you won 4-3. Oh, my bad. Yeah, let's go. Craziness.
See, I'm so much of a fanatic. There's been times where I've gone to a game, whether it be, it hasn't really happened since they changed the name to the Guardians, but like it could have been Indians, Browns. There's been times I've went to a game and I knew going in we weren't gonna have great seats and maybe at times it will be a little hard for me to see. So I would bring a radio with me too and listen to the radio feed. So I knew
But then you're always on delay. Like something happens in the stadium and then like 5 seconds later you hear it on the radio.
Yeah, that is true.
What I do, Scotty, is I open up the MLB app and watch their game day simulation. If I ever lose track of like an inning or I want to know what the count is, because I will say, though, like Progressive Field is awesome. I love it. It looks really cool. It's a great backdrop. It's a great place to be. Very accessible. I like that you can walk pretty much the whole park. But in the handicap section, because Progressive is more of a steep, incline. Like Kauffman Stadium is more of a bowl, so it's less steep, and you can put platforms in there, so you're kind of out in the crowd for your handicap section. Where Progressive is more steep, and you're kind of on top of the section and over the overhang, so you're not really in the crowd. You're just on top of the crowd, if that makes sense. So in Progressive Field, when you're sitting in the handicap section, because you have the big overhang over you, there's not a great way to see like the balls and strikes and runs like scoreboard across the. I usually rely on the scoreboard that's on the back of the stadium, like not the big video board, even though it's huge. I can never see the balls and strikes there, so I usually rely on the ones that are closest to me that are on the I don't know what the skinny ones that go across the back of the stadium or whatever. I usually try to find the closest one for me there and just rely on that. But with the handicap section of Progressive, like you don't see hardly any of that scoreboard at all. So I couldn't find any balls, strikes, outs, runs. So I was going by the seat of my pants. And like I said, I completely lost track of the runs.
Well, I mean, I did, on a bright note, Anthony, I did see one of your memories that I saw on Facebook when you got to meet Royals legend Eric Hosmer. That
was so cool. That was so cool. And I found out some stuff that I didn't know. Like When the Royals or any MLB player, or I believe this is across the professional leagues, when they're out on a promotional meet and greet like that, they're not allowed to wear the team's like logo, because they're not on a team organization event. So like if they went to like Royals Fan Fest, they could wear Royals stuff. But because it was just something that like he was promoting at I think it was a steak, it was like a Kansas City steakhouse or whatever. It was a promotion. He's not allowed to wear Royal stuff at all. So he had like his own little branded shirt on, which was kind of like, it was awesome meeting Eric Hosmer, but like if you're nitpicking, and it was like, oh man, I wanted to see, I wanted a picture with him in the Royals stuff, so people would know it's a Royals player if they didn't know him by his face. That's like being petty. I'm not petty. I'm not that petty. I'm really cool. We met Eric Hosmer. That was awesome. He shook my hand, talked to me for a good 5 minutes, and then what was funny is like it wasn't really set up for like a wheelchair to get him next to his table to take a picture. The pictures were more like, hey, just take a walk behind my table and we'll take a picture, or he would lean over with people like over the table. So it wasn't really set up for like a wheelchair to get a picture with him. So he got up and he like slid the table and then grabbed the wheelchair, and then like he did all that. So that was really cool, because that's something that you don't have to do. You could just try to makeshift it and say, hey, let's take a picture with me way behind you, and you just turn around in front of the table. But he wasn't like that. I mean, he like stood up, he slid the table over, and then he like grabbed the chair and pulled it. So he made the effort to make sure the picture was him and me next to each other, which I thought was really cool, because that wasn't something he had to do, and he had a lot of autographs to sign that day. So I'm sure a lot of people want to stay on schedule as much as possible, but that just shows you, in my opinion, that shows you a little bit of character.
That's awesome. I didn't think about the whole, like, because it wasn't an MLB event.
Right.
Like
me neither. Like when I got up to the table, it actually wasn't a huge event. It was kind of under the radar. We went there. I thought it was going to be packed. I was like, Mom, let's just go there at like 6 a.m. The gates opened at 9, and the lines, I was like, let's get there at 6 because there's going to be a lot of people there. But then you got there and it was like, the line. I mean, I'm not saying there was no one there, but it wasn't like a massive event. It was kind of low key, maybe 350, 400 people in line. So it took, the line opened at 9. I think me and Mom were out of there because you meet them and then they make you go through the steak shop because they want you to buy stuff. Right. So I think me and Mom were out of there by 11. So like an hour and a half, 2 hours in line. Not bad at all. I thought we were going to be there all day.
Yeah, that isn't bad. I know we're over on time.
A little bit, but we're having fun. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
good.
I said, there's no show at 2, so as long as we don't go into 3, we're fine.
Yeah.
We go into 3, we might be booted by Power Hour and just kicked right off the screen.
Yep. You're like, enough.
DJ just walks into the graphic, like just walks into the screen and kicks both our boxes out. Gets all meta, like the ending of She-Hulk, where I don't know if you've seen that show on the Marvel show on Disney Plus, but the last episode it kind of goes into this like thing where she's in the Disney Plus menu and she's throwing like thumbnails of shows out. I don't want this one. I want the So DJ just kind of walks into the screen, kicks both of our boxes out, and then Power Hour like explodes into the get out of here. Boom.
That would literally be a bot.
That might break the internet. That might break the internet actually if that happened.
It would be. It would break it, I think.
All right. So did you have one last thought?
Yeah.
You want to get out?
So I guess what I wanted to say, now that we're in the summer season, obviously we got scrappers, we got Class B, but things have calmed down a little bit now. I wanted to know from you, Anthony, this was one last kind of question I had, and if you don't have one yet, it's okay. But is there, going into this next sports season now, and as we get into the summer season and beyond, do you think there's a team or a player, even a coach in any sport that maybe isn't a star yet, but you think could break out and become a real star? Like, do you have one example or a couple?
I'll tell you what, and this is recency bias because we just came off of softball season, and I get it. But watch out for Middle Ridge softball. They had a kind of an inconsistent season this year where there are times they looked really, 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 really good, and then sometimes their youth kind of showed up. But they're losing one senior, and it was Aaliyah Wall who did a really good job. I'm not discounting what she did, but she wasn't a everyday catcher. Their everyday catcher from the year prior, who's going to be going into her junior year next year. She got hurt this season, so she couldn't catch at all. So Aaliyah Wall, the only senior, came in, caught every day for them, did a wonderful job behind the plate, and actually was one of the best hitters in the lineup. But the point is, they're going to get their normal starting catcher back. So you don't lose like a huge gapping hole in the roster from losing your senior. And then everybody else is back too. And they still have a couple of years with those players. When I'm looking at the MVAC, I'm seeing McDonald lose a big chunk of seniors. I'm seeing Western Reserve lose a couple of important seniors. And I'm seeing Middle Ridge right there bringing back a really good roster. Everything intact, every piece in place. You got your catcher back, Kelsey Dye. I'm really excited for the Rams, and I think they might be a front runner for the MVAC next year.
I will definitely.
It's a lot to wait for to get back to next softball season, but it's top of my mind right now since we just finished spring sports.
And you got your USA softball cap on, so it's.
I mean, like, it's softball season for me because the college season ended, but Athletes Unlimited just started. So watch for all softball fans out there that enjoyed the high school softball season, that enjoyed the College World Series. If you don't know, if you weren't paying attention to like the readers or the commercials on the World Series, professional softball is a thing. It's growing. It's huge. It's on ESPN consistently all summer. Athletes Unlimited. Give it a watch. Support professional softball so we can continue to grow the game. If you're a fan of the World Series, you're going to see a lot of players that you knew from not only this year but years in the past. A lot of superstars that are on these teams, and they just announced that next year they're going to be having still their format here where we're having individual champions, and it's all kind of a point system, and you root for the player. You don't root for the teams because they're switching teams every week. It's kind of a cool, inventive format of having a professional sports league. But next year they're going to have that, and they're also going to have a traditional league with 4 teams that are all going to be fighting for a championship that will stay together all summer long. So for fans of that format, that's going to be there too for Athletes Unlimited next summer. But for this summer, make sure to watch all these superstars because it's really good softball, and you can learn a lot. Softball players out there that are listening, you can learn a ton from watching the best in the world play in this atmosphere against and with the other best players in the world. So make sure, tune in to Athletes Unlimited, take notes, see what they're doing, how they're carrying themselves. Man, it's fun. Whew.
You know what that means now, Ian, with Athletes Unlimited. It means I'm coming for you, man. Take Your Throne is the biggest, softball.
You can't do it. You can't do it, Scotty.
It's a tall task.
No way. You can do a lot of things, Scotty. I believe in you so much. A lot of things you can do, but you can't take the mantle of biggest softball fan on YSN.
You're like, you're giving me that Matumbo finger. You're like, no.
No.
My house.
Get out of here with that. I mean, it's softball central. See all the softballs on the wall, softballs on my desk. It's softball posters.
That is, and then you got the royal blue background.
Royal blue walls. Yeah. Luckily, blue doesn't clash with hardly anything. So, because I have a lot of colors. I have some Georgia Tech navy and gold. I got some Chiefs red in this room. Got some royal blue, which works really well. Tennessee Orange over there for all the great people I met through Tennessee softball. So yeah, it's all fun. But you're not going to beat me, Scotty.
I gotta admit, you're giving me you give me a run for the money with it as far as the coolest sports room.
All right, now here's the other thing, Scotty. I know we're a little bit over, but one more thing I have to tell you. I went to a graduation party over the weekend, and it was for Skylar Charnecchia, who is going on to play wheelchair basketball at Alabama. I got to meet her teammates that play wheelchair basketball for the Cleveland Cavaliers wheelchair basketball team that she plays with up in Brunswick. I don't know if you've ever seen like serious wheelchair basketball players in action, Scotty. Well, I didn't get to see them play basketball, but I don't know if you've ever seen them and how they carry themselves. These guys are, when I'm saying like they have adapted for these guys are freaks of nature when it comes to dudes with disabilities or dudes with bound to a wheelchair for any reason. I saw this. There's like two little steps to get out of the front of the building, right? There's a back entrance with a ramp that you can use, but these guys are like, I don't want to use the ramp. They went to the end of the step, and in like a 4-second move, Scotty, they got out of their chair, they squatted on the ground, they picked up their chair, swung it over their body, hit it on the bottom of the stairs, then got back into the chair and rolled away. And it happened so quick. And I was gobsmacked. I was like, oh.
Jaw dropped to the floor.
I would kill to be able to do that. Like I thought I had a strong upper body. This guy just
this guy's like, hold my beer.
I wish I wanted to be like, hey, come do that again so I could videotape it because I gotta see that again. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's crazy.
Now, and like, granted, like he didn't have our wheelchair. Our wheelchair is like heavy. Like you're not gonna swing yours or mine over your head like that. He had a lightweight wheelchair, but the smoothness and the just I was like, oh. And it's not like he stood while he did, like he couldn't use his legs that well. So he was it had to be a really quick, like 3 or 4 second motion where he was squatting on the stair and then just swung it over and then just jumped in the chair real quick.
Did they have those chairs with like the wheels?
They used those, but that wasn't his everyday chair. So he just had a normal wheelchair, but it was one of those ones like you can tell it was kind of lightweight. It was built for manual usage. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't luxurious. It was just built for more mobility than luxury like yours or mine. Like I'll say it. I have to have the nice leather seats and the cushions and the power, and you got to have the joystick. But this guy had like the bare minimum, like super light, super mobile. They go on like 10-mile wheels down like bike paths. I don't know if I can go 10 miles in a power chair.
Yeah, that is wild, man. I did see several years ago, I went to a Cavs game and the halftime entertainment was the wheelchair Cavaliers.
Yeah, this is what Skylar plays for. Yeah, that same organization.
And it like their arms were like,
it's ridiculous.
Like, it is absurd.
These guys were jacked. I'm not like bodybuilder jacked where it's like, ooh, something's wrong with you, but like lean and jacked. And I'm like, oh my word. They're like, hey, you should come to practice with us. I was like, no way. No way.
Yeah,
I am not getting in a chair against you guys ever.
Anthony, you'll be rolling up.
I would be eaten up like a hamburger real quick.
It's no all way. We'll be on the show and then you'll be
unless it was like embarrassing Anthony for content. I might do that, but no. They're like, hey, you can come to practice. You can get in a chair and see what we got. I was like, I don't got much. Not compared to you guys. I am strong enough to survive. You guys are strong enough to go out there and be Olympic athletes.
I'm not.
I'm not. No. I can get around. Like, I'm strong enough to get around and not be held down by my disability with my upper body, and I work out. But I am not that level at all. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. They look like freaking Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, they do. It's bananas, man.
Oh man, Scotty, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. We have a lot of fun on Wednesdays. I hope you guys have fun too. Running Point always brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2. Scotty will be back next Wednesday from 1 to 2 as well. Check out Class B Baseball tonight. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find it on the network. And until tomorrow, have fun, and we will see you